Welcome back to TYT Sports, continuing our NBA What If series, not the video game related one, the one that is joined by Andre Snellings from RotoWire.com. We've done a few of these already, all in the description box below and also in the cards. Make sure to check those out. But this one's a juicy one, and it's a more recent one as well. What if Steph Curry was drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves? And some people are going to say, well, what do you mean the Minnesota Timberwolves? Well, they had two picks right before Steph Curry was taken. Take a look at the 2009 draft board, which, by the way, we had a discussion about the 2015 draft class. Not a bad top 10 for the 2009 draft class. But Blake Griffin was the easy number one pick from Oklahoma. James Harden went number 3. And then it gets interesting because Ricky Rubio was taken by the Wolves at the 5, and then Johnny Flynn also taken. And then the Warriors picked up Stephen Curry. And it's a much different time in the Stephen Curry legacy or his era, right? Because this was the oft-injured Steph Curry that was taken by the Warriors, and then there was the big trade that happened with Monte Ellis, in which some of the Twitter reactions, which I'll throw up for you, are still my favorite. Why would we trade that garbage? Why wouldn't we trade the garbage Steph Curry and keep Monte Ellis? But Andre, in terms of the 2009 draft, you had a much better title for this clip, which I'm going to let you throw in there. But what if Steph Curry was drafted by the Wolves?
I think my reaction when I saw this topic was, well, what if David Kahn wasn't an idiot? At the time, I couldn't justify them not picking Steph Curry. Mm-hmm. At the time, I was living in North Carolina, so maybe I saw a little more of Curry in college than most did. I can't say I saw him being what he is now, but I was watching like there's no reason this guy can't be a good pro. I think the knock on him was that he was undersized and he had been at a small school. But I was watching him in the tournament, and he was killing it. And he had range out 25 feet even then. Mm-hmm. So I would have picked him over Johnny Flynn. I mean, that's no offense to Johnny Flynn at the time. I mean, he looked, I guess, okay in college. But Ricky Rubio had been the next best thing at point guard for, years at that point. So I was okay with the Rubio pick. But the whole thing on Rubio was, well, he's a great ball handler and a great distributor, but he can't shoot. And he's also got good size for the position. And then the knocks on Steph were, well, he can shoot, but he's too small to play shooting guard, so he needs to play next to a big point guard. I thought that was a perfect 1-2. I mean, Rubio and Johnny Flynn, they had the same strengths and weaknesses anyway, let alone the fact that the Steph was so much better. I at the time, I didn't understand where it was going, and it's only gotten worse since.
Right. So agreed with you 100% on that. And again, no knock on Syracuse University here as a Carmelo Anthony fan. Johnny Flynn played at Cuse and wasn't, again, I like how you put it. You really can't justify Johnny Flynn being drafted over Stephen Curry or even like some of the later guys in that draft, like even DeMar DeRozan. Again, hindsight's 20/20, or in this case, it's like the 28 feet over 20. Get it? 3-point jokes. Terrible 3-point jokes. There it is. I have to say this every time. It's like the same career path. Obviously, everything changes if Steph Curry and Rubio get drafted, but you're talking about what could have been a lethal backcourt, just because, as you mentioned, Rubio can't really shoot, and Steph Curry can shoot from 55 feet. He's 50% from there anyway. So if Curry, all those injuries happen, we don't know if the Timberwolves say after 2 or 3 years, we don't want to deal with this, we're getting rid of this guy and keeping Rubio, or they just would have had the 2 most injured backcourt players of all time, combining to play 50 games over their first 3.5 seasons. But if the Timberwolves had them and they still found a way to grab someone like Andrew Wiggins and Karl-Anthony Towns down the road, this team would already be dominating the NBA at this point, or at least competing in the Western Conference at this point. But there's a lot to tell. In terms of the Timberwolves and how it panned out, I think that they're still okay. We talk about the hindsight 2020 thing. Yeah, Steph Curry has become a transcendent player in the NBA. We talk about this all the time. But the Timberwolves have Karl-Anthony Towns. They have Andrew Wiggins. They have a really great young core that's only going to get better with time. So in all these what-if series that we did, the Bulls not take Michael Jordan taking the 2-year sabbatical, and what if the CP3 trade went through, this is one of them that really still kind of worked out for the Timberwolves down the road.
It's worked out probably in the future because they're in a good spot now. But Curry has been a star now for at least 3 years. I mean, he had a lot of injuries early, but I mean, by 2014, he was really good. By last year, he was the MVP, and by this year, he's going to possibly be the first unanimous MVP. Yeah. I wouldn't exactly say it worked out just as well for the Wolves, but maybe they have another shot at it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely okay. It worked out it worked out good enough that they're not in this terrible situation. Although, as Dan or EP was just flashing the whiteboard saying, what if they didn't get, let's add another what if to the what if. It's what if inception. What if they didn't get Karl Anthony Towns or Andrew Wiggins or both in this situation? Are they still okay?
Yeah, see, that's the question because the way the NBA is set up, if you're really, really bad, you're supposed to get some really, really good picks. I mean, that's how you're supposed to be able to come back. But a lot of teams just fumble them. I think Wiggins is a good talent, and I think that he can get better. I was having a discussion the other day. Maybe his upside is Kawhi Leonard. If he could embrace that, maybe gain 30 pounds. I mean, he's still so young. So if he could gain 30 pounds and focus more on defense and let his offense be secondary, maybe that's his upside. But honestly, the excitement about the Wolves is because of Karl Anthony Towns.
Right.
Towns right now looks like the future of the NBA. So, you take him and then you have Wiggins and Zach LaVine. It's his running mates now, and then maybe you add another lottery pick this year that forms the rest of the nucleus. It's all exciting because of Towns. So if they didn't have Towns, then yeah, it wouldn't really look the same.
Right. And by the way, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but we'll throw it up in post for everybody too. There's a great T-shirt trending around Minnesota of the draft where they have Curry below Johnny Flynn and Ricky Rubio, which is pretty funny. But again, make sure to leave your comments in the comment section below in regards to Stephen Curry and what if he was drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves in 2009. What would be the future of the Wolves? What would have happened with the Golden State Warriors? Would Monta Ellis have been hitting 35-foot three-pointers? We do not know. But we like to have a debate anyway. Make sure to like, favorite, and subscribe to the video. Make sure to check out Andre at rotowire.com and his Hoops Lab columns at Professor DRZ on Twitter, at JasonRubin91, and at TYT Sports. We'll see you next time.